Hi. Yeah, that's better. Hi, I'm Massimo Gozzi. It's now been 1 month since the release of my first devlog. Wait, 1 month? Haha, oops. Look, I swear I have a good reason. I just haven't thought of it yet. Anyway, I've been hard at work creating a minimum viable product for my game. You can find the original idea in my last video, and I've been hard at work posting Twitter updates for all my 3 followers who care. I'm proud to say that I now have a demo that is playable and has features. So without further ado,
Yeah.
yeah, baby, fully fledged pathfinding system, complex flowchart-based AI, completely customizable action system. I really did it. So let's talk about it. Go on. What's that? You want to learn more about pathfinding? That's exactly what I was thinking. So, originally I had like no idea what I was doing, so I just went with like a simple breadth first search algorithm that I found online. But that was slow as balls. So I decided to stop being such a Philistine and just learn how to do a star, which, as it turns out, is literally just breadth search with like a heuristic on top, and it's super simple, and I went way out of my way for no reason. So once that was all sorted, I made the combat action system, which is basically just, for me as a designer, it makes it easy for me to make like simple combat actions that I can assign to each character. So next I worked on the enemy AI, and I did some reading, and I could have made something extremely complicated like this. Pathetic! I've already used my perfect Bayesian reasoning to predict your defeat in 30 million different possible outcomes. It seems like you've forgotten one thing though. You're not real! That's right, it was me the whole time. Yeah, I decided that a simpler AI that the player can easily understand and manipulate would be more engaging. So I decided to simply map out some behaviors using a flowchart and just implemented that. So, what's next? Because, you know, it's always, what's next? What's coming up? What's new? So first off, I'm going to try and design and implement a fully featured party that is representative of what the player might have throughout most of the game. There won't be any kind of progression or customization yet. I really want to have something that works just within the combat engine before I add any kind of character building features. In terms of player controlled units, I'm probably going to shoot for about 4 characters. One mid-range melee unit, a more long-ranged unit, a very close-range unit with higher mobility, and maybe some kind of support unit. Of course, the player is going to need something to fight against, so I'll be designing and implementing enemies as needed. This will be more gradual, and I'm looking to make around 3 very distinct enemies. I'm going to try, when I'm designing them, to go for extremes to see if there are any problems with any like very specific enemy archetype. To give you some examples of enemy archetypes, I'm thinking of maybe a balanced melee enemy, a long-range enemy, a very fast melee enemy that has maybe poor defenses, and a very bulky enemy. And then obviously I have to put it all together and make some levels for the players to progress through. These should test a wide variety of different situations and serve as a good chunk of semi-complete playable content to throw at playtesters. The game will mostly just be progressing through these levels, and they might get harder over time. I'm going to try and have at least a little bit of a learning curve. Alright, well I better get back to it. Although before I go, I was thinking it would probably be interesting to talk about why I make video games. It's actually really simple. So I started playing games when I was about 4, and I've always really had an interest in the medium. And then when I was 9, I read a book about game designers. I was like, yeah, Dad, I want to do that. And then it was mostly just doing research on that until about 4 years ago where I actually started making games, and yeah, it turns out I really enjoy doing it. And since then, it's been mostly about finding the fastest way to turn this into something I can make a living off of. And over time, through learning to program and observing other indie developers, I really came to appreciate the medium as a whole and what a creatively driven person or team of people can achieve through video games. And when I think of the best experiences I've had with any creative medium, video games obviously come to the top of my mind. I think games are the medium in which I would most enjoy working in, and I think I would be better at making them over any other artistic medium. And I reached a point where there were so many experiences I wanted to create that would only really be possible with games. If I had to sum up the advantage of games in one word, it would probably be immersion. To expand on that, with most other mediums, while you can be immersed, you're almost necessarily always going to take the role of an observer. And with games, it's pretty much the opposite. You're almost automatically taking the role of something that actually exists in the world of whatever you're playing. And we're talking about gameplay, that means either being given this, if done well, very enjoyable kinesthetic experience that no other medium can really match. Or if we're talking about less of an action game, games can immediately offer this pleasure of engaging with a closed system that hands you a lot of agency and is very rewarding in a way that's difficult to achieve in real life or with any other artistic medium. And then if you add narrative on top of that, you have the potential to leverage this immersion for these incredible emotional connections and payoffs. And video games especially have the ability to combine the strengths of all these other mediums like visual arts, music, and writing. So yeah, bing, bang, boom, that's my character motivation. See you next month.